So, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I know people are still kind of logging in and trailing in a little bit. For those of you I don't know, I know pretty much everybody on the call. Hi, there she is. My name is Tara Ingalls, and I am owner of Tingalls Graphic Design and Website Development. Most of you are clients or I've known you through networking. There wasn't anybody that signed up for this that I didn't know, which was cool because then I didn't have to do this whole like Tingalls introduction thing. Um, so what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about some of the changes that have happened with Google My Business, which is what it's called now. Remember, it used to be called Google Maps, and then it was called Google Places, and now it's called Google My Business. So they're kind of taking all of the different um at like uh offerings that Google offers and kind of putting them in one place where you can kind of manage everything. You do have to have a Gmail account or a Google Workspace email or register your own personal email with Google in order to use their tools. So most of the time in these seminars, like the last one I gave like this, we spend about 10 minutes just trying to figure out whose Gmail it was that had signed up for it. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm gonna teach you how to claim it, how to optimize it and fill it out. And then I'm gonna give you a couple secrets that hi Alice. A couple things that I want you to be aware of and take advantage of because it can really optimize and enhance your own website search engine optimization. I mean, if you play in Google Sandbox, in my opinion, you get rewarded. So, if there's a way to help that along, more power to it. And if at the end of this call, I'm going to record it, I'm going to send you a copy of the recording, but if at the end of the call you're like, I still don't get it, or I can't get into my listing or something like that, we can do a personal one-on-one Zoom call and try to get you access. But I think most of the people that I know on this call either have a listing or are just looking for enhancements on how to optimize it and things like that. So does that sound good? All right. So I'm going to try to shoot for about 35 minutes for presentation and then leave a couple minutes for questions. Um, so we're gonna kick things off. So I have to share my screen. Haha. Let's do that. Okay. So, if you don't know how to get to your listing or you don't know where your listing is, the best way to find your listing is to just go to Google and put in your business name. And usually it'll pop up and that lets you know that there's a listing for that business. If you're already logged in, the other way of getting to this landing page, which is where you can edit and optimize your listing here, is to go to My Business. Oh my gosh, I can't type when people are watching. mybusiness.google.com, and I will pop that in the chat. So if you want to click on that, that will also get you hopefully to a page that doesn't say welcome or something like that, because then we've got to figure out what Gmail account you need to log into in order to get access to this. And again, that's something we can talk about a little bit later. I'm gonna actually pin myself here. Okay, so when you get to this landing page, there's lots of different things that you can do, but the most important thing to do is to make sure that your profile is complete. And so, can you see this pop up? Yeah, okay, good. I never know if you can see the pop up. So there's tabs along the top here, but essentially this is an infinite scroll, and you're going to eventually get to all those things. But when you come in here, you want to make sure that your business name is complete. The one thing with if you don't take anything away from today, take this. However, your business name is listed with Google and your address and your phone number and your email, that should be the exact same way that it's listed on your website, on your business cards, on any directories that you're in, like Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yelp, Pinterest, wherever you have a business listing. It's very literal that if you're on a street and in your Google listing you have ST period, but on your website you have street, Google doesn't like that. It's word for word, punctuation to punctuation. So make sure, and I always tell people just start with what Google's already got for you, unless it's incorrect, obviously. But start with what Google has for you because that's harder to change in most situations. So be sure that you're, putting that literal word for word. I didn't even know that that for my listing, they have number 100, which, I don't like that because it makes it kind of look like I'm in like a apartment complex or like, but I've tried to change this to suite or whatever, and it just doesn't work. So I just updated my website to be matchy with that. So, again, playing in Google Sandbox, which they'll reward you for. So, was there a question? No. Okay. So business name, business category, when you set up your business in Google My Business, you're going to pick a primary category to get the listing started, but they allow you now to offer up to 6 additional categories. So I'd recommend that you take advantage of that, whether it's, for Sue, it's like assisted living facility, or it's memory care facility, or whatever that is. If you've got multiple different categories, definitely put those in there. It is kind of at the mercy of what is already in the system, I guess. So if you want to add another category and I wanted to put in like logo designer, it doesn't have that. So I had to be like, okay, what about branding? Okay, branding agency. That's pretty close to what I have. That's actually new. I'm going to add that today. So it gives you the ability to, add multiple different categories. And again, you're looking for keywords, things that match your website, things that the layman is searching for. Try not to put in acronyms or enter any industry jargon, things like that. I had somebody ask in my last presentation why I'm listed as graphic designer first and not like graphic designer or advertising agency. At this point, we're doing about 80% web work and then 20% logo and branding work. So I wanted to have my primary, and most of my blogs that I'm writing are about website design and SEO and best practices and stuff. So I just wanted that to be our primary. And then some of these other ones are more like other services. Like some people think of my agency as like a traditional like advertising agency, which it isn't, but I put it in there because there is a significant portion of the public that still think what I do is ad agency. My dad included, who's 83. So, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to close that. Scrolling down here, I mean, you'll notice that whenever you make edits, sometimes it'll take up to 10 minutes or so to be reviewed. So just that's fine. Your description here should be something that's pretty timeless. Writing, kind of a who we are, what we do, and who we work with are kind of the 3 main sections I would put in this description area. And don't put, we've been in business for 20 years, because then you got to remember to go in and change that next year. So, I've got since 2000, Madison's award-winning marketing partner, branding solutions for over 1,300. I have to change this to 1,400 because we just hit that milestone last week. So I'm super excited. We talk a little bit about our initial design, things like that. So this is kind of a nice big chunk of content here. I'm not sure how long you get here, but definitely worth filling this out. And I'll show you where that lives in the listing in a little bit. You can put your opening date, your contact information, these social profiles. This is brand new. And so you can put in your Facebook, your LinkedIn, things like that. When I was preparing for this, I was like, oh my gosh, there's actually a section for this now. So that's kind of cool that Google's recognizing Facebook and not competing against it. You can also create a short name. So that will be helpful a little bit later when we're doing like reviews and trying to get reviews and things like that. But that should be something business related so that you can actually send people your Google listing and create a name for that. And I think that it has to be all one word, but I think you can use dashes if somebody has your business name, and you can put dashes in there. Got some more people coming in here. So your business location, what I find is interesting is that, look at that. So I've got Suite 100 there. So that doesn't even match like the listing, the map listing. So like there's some, even within Google, there's problematic issues there. But again, like I just listed what they have on the main page. So, you can choose what you want to do. What I like about this too is that you can move this pin. You can adjust it. So if you click adjust, like I'm inside of the Summit Credit Union Bank. And if you zoom in on this, you'll actually notice that like the pin, might have brought me here or here, but my listing is, this is my driveway here to my parking lot. So I wanted people to know that this is the entrance of my building. So I actually adjusted that to be the real entrance of my building. And I know, Sue, like your Oregon location is in like a strip mall. You might be able to move that pin directly over the area that you're
Mhm.
occupying. So make that adjustment on the map. That's kind of a cool little thing that they have. Service area has been a little tricky lately. I'm really surprised that I haven't been flagged, given that my service area is the United States. I had a contractor that is a plumber, and he was only able to offer services within a 42 circle radius of his home address, which is where his business is based out of. So we had to do a little bit of finagling in order to get that approved by Google. So play around with that a little bit, at the very least, if you're offering, I mean, we'd all love business across the United States, right? But really Google Maps is meant to be a vicinity kind of, are you near my business? That's what it's meant for. So I would put, Madison, if you're in Madison, like Madison, Sun Prairie, Verona, like pick those smaller cities. And I don't think this is unlimited, but I have a client that has at least 10 of all of the suburbs in here. So take advantage of that. Business hours are either basically like you show hours or you show that you don't have any hours. There's no like by appointment or anything like that. um I would try to make yourself available as much as possible, because it will show your listing as complete if you put hours in. If you don't put hours in, it doesn't like that. So and then you can also add in special hours, like we're closed day after Thanksgiving and we're closed on Christmas. So then it will always show that you're closed those days. So if you're always closed on Martin Luther King Day or whatever, you want to put that in. These are also some different things like that were added after COVID, whether you have a drive-through, some of these are more restaurant related, but you can mark whether you're Latino owned, Black owned, veteran owned, or women owned now. That's something new in the, inclusion and equity in the business area. And then there's some amenities you can say, whether you're wheelchair accessible, those kinds of things. This is brand new. Whether or not you offer, a trend like you're a safe space for the LBT, I would say LBQT, but LGBTQ plus friendly. Um, you can also do appointments. And then you can offer here offers online appointments. That's also brand new. There's, just some things that you can say, what language you offer, um, stuff like that. So just some ideas. So fill this out to the best of your ability. That would be like kind of step one of my tips for you today. Um, as far as categories are concerned, we've talked a little bit about that, but that's number two, is to basically, choose a category that's the 80-20, the 80% of your business. And then use the other categories as sort of your subcategories. If you have multiple locations, obviously you want a Google listing for every location, every office location or whatever, for your business.
So Tara, can I,
Yeah.
oh, so you're saying that for me, I need to have a Google listing for every single one of my homes?
It's not a bad idea if you think
Okay,
people will be looking for directions to those homes. And to me, it's a missed
okay,
opportunity to get some more keywords in there for each one of your properties.
okay.
I know it's a lot to manage, but you can manage them all within one account, which will be nice.
I think I have it already started from before, so,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Okay. Adding photos. So photos have changed a little bit. Do you remember like they used to be able to allow people to upload photos into your Google listing? You can't do that anymore. I'm not sure why, but that's a good thing in my opinion. If you already have photos in your Google listing and you're like, oh, I just went through and deleted a handful of like a couple photos that are employees that don't work for me anymore. So you can, so if you click on photos, um, you can have inside by owner, and then the street view is actually from Google. You can't do anything. You can't change that. But if you click by owner, I have a logo updated into my profile, but it doesn't like, it used to have like a logo right next to my name, and that's gone now. So I might delete this because it's taking up one of my, photo spots. But if there's a photo in here that you're like, oh, I don't know who put that in, they merged photos that people had uploaded and your photos together, so you can delete those now. So let's say, somebody uploaded this photo to my little dog. You can click on the photo and then you can trash it in the upper right hand corner here. Say, are you sure you want to trash it? And you would say, yeah. As far as the photos and the way that they're showing, as far as like what's at top, they're showing the newest photo on top, or the photos that have the best resolution taken with the best like pixels and things. So if you took a photo with your flip phone, whatever, and you know, and it's a poor quality photo, it's not going to give it the hierarchy to put it closer to the top. So what I'd recommend is like, you know, continuously add photos of your products, your services, your buildings, or whatever it is, because you'll notice that this is my #1 photo. We're technically #1 here, but when you come here, it's not the first photo here. And I have troubleshooted this to my eyes are red, and it doesn't really do anything. So I'm not too convinced that photos, I'm going to show you a different place where you can put photos that'll be a little bit more um beneficial to you. You can also upload videos too. Um, one tip for success is when you're uploading photos, make sure you rename the photos so that if it's like on your iPhone and it's dco56.jpg, you rename that to say something like business name dash, you know, like Sienna Crest dash memory care dash XYZ building.com, because those photos are used also in Google Images here, the directory. So if somebody's maybe trying to find a particular building for you, it may appear in the photo here and they're like, yeah, that's the building I want. They click on that photo and it's going to take them to your website. So it's a missed opportunity not to label those file names before you upload them to Google. So one of the things with this setup that's really frustrating to me is that there's a little drop down right here. This drop down has the two most important things that I believe your listing offers you, is the ability to collect reviews and also add updates to your profile. So if you click on this ask for reviews, it will actually open up a box that you can then copy this link and email this to anybody to give you a review, and they will directly go to your page and give you a review for your organization, versus having them to have to go to Google, search for you, find your page, give you a review. This is huge, in my opinion. This has significantly helped me get the 39 reviews that I have right now. I had like 15 last year, and now I make it part of my process to ask people for reviews by providing them the direct link to my Google listing page. And you could do the same thing with Facebook. You could find the actual link in Facebook or wherever else to get people to review you. But you got to pull this menu down to get this link. As far as reviews are concerned, it's sometimes easier if you guide the people who you're asking for reviews on something either specific that they had said to you, or ask them to comment on something specific that you want them to mention about your organization. A lot of people get like paralysis on, I don't know what to say, I don't know what she wants me to say. And so I'll usually say things like, thank you so much for choosing Tingalls for your project. As you can imagine, there's a lot of competition in my industry, and reviews go a long way in helping people make, you know, educated decisions on whether to hire me. You know, if you had a great experience, would you mind giving me a review on either Facebook or Google? I provide them with the link. And then sometimes, depending on their process, I would say, or project, I'll say something like, I remember you saying how surprised you were at how fast we turned around our initial design. Feel free to include that. Or here are 3 areas where I feel Tingle shines brightest in my industry: our turnaround, or our creativity, and our constant communication. Could you comment on one or more of those? It gives them a very easy thing to comment on. And then your reviews come back and they're not all, Tara's great, I love her, which doesn't help my business, you know, doesn't help people make educated decisions on whether to hire me, unless they just want to be my friend, which is fine too. But you know, helping guide them, or taking even an email that they've written you and copy and paste in that and tweaking it slightly, feel free to, you know, to do that in the reviews. And your reviews in Google, you can use those on your website. You should use those on your website, and you should also do social media posts on those. What I do is every time I get one, I thank them, whether it's good or bad. And if you get a bad review, comment on it. You're looking for 3 different things with reviews. You want to acknowledge their frustration, or 2 things: acknowledge their frustration and apologize that they had that frustration, and then offer to take the conversation offline and make it right. By doing that, people will see that you're a connected business owner. They'll see that you're willing to make it right. If it's someone that you don't know, say that. Say like, I'm looking through my records and I actually don't have a record of working with you. Can you remind me what we worked on together? Or call me at this phone number. When people are looking at reviews, and if I tend to look at 1-star reviews because I want to know what they're, what I'm going to be, what to ask for questions, but also like I want to see how a business owner's handled the disgruntled customer. And so I'll read and I will look and see whether they've responded. And I gave this presentation to another group and they were like, oh, I never respond on 5-star reviews. I'm like, you don't say thank you to someone who gives you a 5-star review, who went out of their way to go to your page and say that they loved you? You need to be responding to both. And typically you're gonna get one or the other. You're gonna get 1-star or 5 stars, right? It's like no one really gives like anything in between. But if you do that, if you offer to make it right and they call you and you give them a discount or you offer to redo the service or something like that, I fully believe you have the right to ask them to re-review you and change that from a 1-star to a 5-star once they're satisfied. There's no reason why it should have to sit out there. So that's my little spiel on reviews. The other thing that was in this drop down that I said was really crucial and exciting is this update area. So
Hey, Tara,
yeah,
quick question on reviews. Can we go in and delete a review that's out there?
no. You
No.
can
Okay.
you can petition Google to remove it or flag it if it's got profanity or if it like doesn't meet their guidelines. Like I had a situation where a disgruntled employee left a poor review, and not only did they leave a poor review, but they actually acknowledged a business secret, which is against their contract. So I was able to show, yeah, and he did it when he was working for me too, which was like, what? So I was able to showcase or show to Google the employment contract. I was able to show a pay stub with their name on it, and like I had to prove it, but they removed it. So
Okay.
there are certain guidelines that it can be removed. But I think that the whole reason of them not removing it is because they want it to be real review. That they want, if like there's
Right.
a problem with the business, they don't want that business getting more business. And certainly they don't want that business to go up in rankings for 5-star reviews that don't exist or that are paid
Okay.
for or whatever. I also had a situation where an employee or a company had two a wife and a husband that were making reviews, and they had the same IP address, and they were obviously doing it from their home, and one of the reviews was deleted, and they challenged it, and Google said, well, you can't have reviews from the same IP address because it looks like you're like review stuffing or whatever. And I think that's again a flag on Google's part to make sure that like those centers where you can like hire people to write reviews, that doesn't happen, that you can't pay for reviews basically. So all right, moving on. So as you scroll down in your profile and you're kind of looking at it, uh, the one thing down here at the bottom, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit, is this the ability to add updates. So obviously Google doesn't have their own social media platform. They tried to buy Facebook. It didn't work. So they created their own kind of like update area. So what I use it for is every week I come out here and I put a blog in or some news or just a photo of my staff. And so you just click on add update, you drag a photo, again, keyword rich, right? Put a photo in there, write up a description, and then you can have a call to action on it. It could be book an appointment, order online, learn more, call now, whatever you want that to be. It just shows again that that you're in business, you're communicating what's new in your business and that kind of thing. So these updates again are hidden. And for those of you on the call, that's a good thing because you know where they are now. Not a lot of people are using them. And it could be, again, a good search engine optimization opportunity for you, to have the content that you're putting in your updates match your website and social media and stuff like that. The other thing you can do is you can create and answer your own frequently asked questions. So I created 2 questions. What website platforms do you work with? And then, so I created the question and then I just answered the question and said, Tingalls has experience with WordPress, Shopify or whatever. And then down here, what is your turnaround? Because I get that question all the time. Tingalls boasts an amazing 5-day turnaround for most of all projects. So, I'd love to expand on this. I didn't want to make too many edits right away, but I'd love to expand on this and put in maybe 10, 15 frequently asked questions. Because I think it's really important. Messaging is something that's new. I don't have messaging on, but you can turn on like Google Messaging, which would allow you to get messages directly to your phone. I left this one in here only because it was just an example so that I can show you like as it comes in, it would come in on your phone or on the app on your phone, or it'll come in on your desktop as an email. But you have the ability kind of just to social manage. People who might be looking for your services. Actually, it looks like I did turn it on. But I initially had turned it off, but I turned web notifications off on it. But so messaging is another way that people can communicate with you. Another tip is to keep your content up to date. Like if you know you're going to be closed for a week, come in here and mark that. I can't tell. I went to the Dollar Tree the other day, the Dollar Tree, which you'd think would be like normal, and they were closed at 9 a.m. and it said that they were open at 9 a.m. And I was so frustrated because I had to be somewhere at 10 and I couldn't wait until someone got there. So keep your information up to date. Because I think that just set a calendar reminder every quarter to go out and make sure that everything's up to date. We've talked a little bit about optimizing for keywords. But this products area is a really cool new area where you can put kind of like a gallery of maybe a building or a gallery of services. So it's called products. And I would say I'm more service based, but what I did is it allows you to basically come in here and you can create products and categorize them. So for example, like under, print design and sales collateral, that's my category. And then I can list all these other little products, and you can put in a title, you can put in a little bit of text, and then you can link it directly to your website. So if you have sub services within your company, you can create products for each one of those services so that when someone's skimming your profile, they can come in here. It doesn't say ad when they're looking at it, but they can quickly skim here and be like, oh, wow, look at that. They do trade show booths. I didn't know that. And then they can click on this, click on learn more, and then it will take them directly to my, looks like I need to update this. Love it when I find mistakes of my own presentation. But it can go directly to that page on your website. So this is a great little feature. And then here also are these additional categories that you can put in, and it kind of becomes like more buttons for people to do on your listing. So that's everything within the listing that I wanted to go. Here's a little description that you can write. I don't know why that's not higher, but oh well. The other thing that Google offers is you can advertise. Of course, those are pay-per-clicks and things like that. But you can click on this performance and you can see how your website is doing. So, or website listing is doing. So you can see how many calls you got over like the month period, how many messages, how many bookings directly from like if you have an appointment link, how many people clicked on the map for directions, and then how many people clicked to your website. So if you're kind of a digital like kind of data geek and you want to like look at this, you could make these changes that I'm recommending to your page and see whether or not after 30 days or a couple weeks, some of these metrics start to go up for you. And then you'll know that it's successful. If you find that people are, I wish they had like, the other one I wish they had was like, did people click on your updates? But you can also download this data, which is kind of cool. So you can kind of track it and stuff like that. Which is just kind of a neat little, if you're a data person like I am. You want to strive to make this green. If you're not green up in this area, do whatever you can to make it green. And there underneath here, it'll say, click to learn more or something like that. If it's not green, because you'll just want to follow whatever the prompts are that are recommending. There's also in this little pop-up a $500 credit. Do not buy that credit. I've used it myself, and it's a you got to spend 500 to get the 500. So it's obviously to lure you in. Sorry, Google. I don't like that, but there's other stuff in here. This is also a little area, kind of a to-do list in my opinion. I've got some ads running so I can look at my ad performance. I've got a new review that came in that I haven't responded to. I can look at my February performance. If you don't want to look at this, you can just click dismiss and remove it. But it becomes kind of like oh, I need to check my Google listing and make sure that it's, that it's up to date and things like that. So that's everything I wanted to show you. Does anyone have any questions or